What the freak? Why is Hamish kind of...
Your female review from District 6.
So I just finished the first part, and what I'll say is that this book is effing crazy. Who would have sex with that man for real? Actually?
I unfortunately.
Stop! Stop! Why am I gonna cry? Guys, I'm sensitive. Hey guys, my name is Colby and welcome to another video. I'm so pumped for our video today because I'm going to be reading my most anticipated release of this year, which is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. First up is the reading vlog portion. I'll show you what I did for the midnight release, and I'll keep you updated on my thoughts as I read the book. Throughout the vlog portion of this video, you'll see timestamps below, so you can have the spoilers or you can not have the spoilers depending on what your preference is. Then at the end of the video, I'll be back to give you my full thoughts, my rating, all that stuff. If you enjoyed this video, it would mean so much to me if you would click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment. That is more helpful than you know. But without further ado, let's get on to the reading vlog. Okay, it is March 17th at about 6 p.m. and Sunrise on the Reaping comes out tonight at 10 p.m. my time. A couple of friends are going to come pick me up. We're going to go to a release party and then we'll be back at around 10 p.m. tonight so that I can start reading Sunrise on the Reaping. So let's go enjoy our bookish night in the city. I'm so excited! Okay, Hannah, what are your desires for this book?
I want, so it's 400 pages. I want at least 250 of them to be the games.
Really?
I don't care, because like he's just gonna get reaped, and the capital stuff like might be important, but I'm like, I don't care. Let's get to the games. So there's 48. It needs to be.
There needs to be
bulk game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really upset.
We were saying there has to be a line that's like pure like the driven snow, or it's white like primrose.
Oh,
yeah, some
a
kind of
callback.
Oh, like the bakery, the
the
Malark
Zone.
zone. Like that kind of
Bakery
thing.
the Malark. Oh my gosh, there has to be a mention of the forest that they hunt in.
Yeah.
Has to be mentioned.
I want Cadis's father to be there for some reason. I have a feeling he'll be like young.
Well, the mom is gonna be there because the mom's at the reaping with
True.
Maisie Donna.
True.
Okay, I said I needed a Hamish makeout. If I don't get a Hamish makeout, I'm gonna be pissed.
Period.
Okay, that's what I need. What else? Because I don't think he's gonna fall in love with any of the tributes.
No, because he has a girlfriend at home.
Yeah, but he still could.
That's true.
But I don't think he will.
Fling.
I think he's.
No.
Oh,
That's
cheating
fair.
scandal? I hope that we start to see and understand Hamish's fall. You know, because when we meet him, he is like addicted to alcohol and he's a hurting number and he has no one he loves, etc., etc. So I'm wondering like how we're gonna get from like hot and sexy Hamish to broken Hamish.
Do you think there will be like not like a timeline in between like his games and like Katniss's, but do you think there'll like
There'll be like an epilogue kind
Yes.
of vibe? I feel like there'll be an epilogue.
Okay.
I think they'll have to do a little bridge.
But I don't think it'll be like that lengthy. Is President Snow gonna be involved at all?
Girl, I hope so.
Girl,
I hope he makes a Coriolanus cameo with him being like, how old would he be?
I would die. He'd be
Like 40?
40 something.
In Catching Fire, it says that I think that they replay Hamish's games, and I think it's a very young President Snow opens up the envelope that says there'll be double the amount of tributes.
Does that mean I get to see my man on a screen once
Does
more?
that mean I get to see my 40-year-old man?
I hope so. That's my
I hope so.
That's my husband right there.
Maybe he'll be married. Maybe Coriolanus Snow will have a wife because he has grandchildren, doesn't he?
He does.
Oh my
So
gosh,
they
who would
must
have
come.
sex with that man for real? Actually?
I said, unfortunately, I said if he looked like that. Yeah, I was like,
If he has that buzz cut still, I mean.
Yeah.
Is Tigress gonna be in here? Tiger! What if Tigress is one of the stylists?
She has to be.
She could be.
What if Tigress is one of the stylists?
She has
could
to
be.
be.
This is my Super Bowl!
that down. Keep this ticket. Hear Michaela. Yes!
The 50th annual Hunger Games! The second quarter quarrel! She comes up with the weirdest names. Toilet Brush McGee!
Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Bevvie!
Your female tribute from District 6! Toilet Brush McGee!
I just got back from the Sunrise on the Reaping release party at Barnes & Noble. It was so fun. I was so glad I was able to go with my friends. I think I probably inserted some clips. The book came out at 10 p.m. my time because I live in Utah. I decided to go to the Kindle edition, so as soon as they started handing out the books, we headed out. So I got on my phone and I read it out loud to my friends on our way back. So far, the update is that still very much in the first chapter, so I don't think these are spoilers yet, but I'll put some timestamps below just in case. So far, I found out a lot of information. We've found out more about the bevvie relationships. I feel like I need to make a family tree so I really understand what's going on with the bevvies. We found out that Haymitch's girl that he's dating, that she is a bevvie, which is interesting. We've met Katniss's father, I think. His name is Burdock. And we've met Katniss's mother, I think, whose name is Astrid. It's so funny that Suzanne Collins was able to dupe us into not knowing the names of Katniss's parents. I was like, I don't think we knew Astrid and Burdock. So that's been interesting and fun. We've seen Haymitch talking about alcohol and his relationship to alcohol currently. We've talked about the meadow and they go and pick apples there. So like I said, it's about 10:30. On our way back, we stopped at a gas station. I got my new favorite Red Bull flavor. I got my favorite kind of chip, salt and vinegar. I got my sweet tart. I got my sweet tart mini chewies, okay? These are the best treats. I'm gonna snuggle in. I'm gonna read some more on my phone, I think. It's 10:30 now, so I think I wanna read until midnight. I'll update you next time something exciting happens. Guys, this is already so fun. We found out that the reaping happens every year on July 4th. And also it's interesting because it seems like Haymitch's girlfriend is a little bit rebellious. So we'll see how that pans out. Oh, and also, speaking of people related to Haymitch being rebellious, it sounds like Haymitch's dad was super rebellious and that he might have been killed by the Capitol in the coal mines. I think we're about to read about Haymitch getting picked, so. What the freak? Haymitch didn't get called. I'm so confused. Oh my gosh. This is so interesting. I feel like I need to go and reread that part in Catching Fire where it talks about the reaping and see if Suzanne Collins left any hints that it was like the craziest reaping literally ever. Everyone, we just got the iconic line. They will not use our tears for their entertainment. It is 10 o'clock. I just got back from work. Last night I got about 15% into the book. Right now we are with Haymitch. We are on the train to the Capitol and we're doing some more learning about Maisie Donner, which is really exciting. I'm loving the book so far. There's like a crazy snowstorm happening outside. So luckily most of my plans are canceled for today, except for my therapy appointment, but that's not for another 2 hours. So I made myself some breakfast. I'm just gonna sit down here in my work clothes and try and get some reading done for the next 2-ish hours until therapy, and let's just see how far we can get. Guys, I just finished the first part of the book. I cannot believe it. I'm exactly 33% through the book, which means I'm a third of the way done, which is just so crazy because I've been waiting for this book for so long. I thought it'd be a good idea to give you my thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to do a spoiler and non-spoiler thought section, but for me as a reader, kind of any information about an anticipated book is a spoiler. And obviously I'm going to be sharing information. So I'm going to do my best to make sure I separate out these two sections. But just be aware, if you're very particular about the kind of information that you want to know going in, then probably it's time to click off. I will see you next time in my next video or when you come back after you finished. Okay, my non-spoiler thoughts. Guys, this book is absolutely insane. I am like loving it. There are so many connections to things in the original trilogy, in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I feel like my mind is like being blown and the plot is crazy. And I think the craziest thing is it already feels so high stakes. And not just because of the Hunger Games. Like everything already feels so interconnected with the political system, with rebellion, with the leadership. Like everything already feels like it did in Mockingjay. Like it feels so expanded out. I'm so stressed to see how it ends, and I already kind of know how it ends. I'm just intrigued to see how we get there. I'm thinking I'm liking it better than the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, if I'm gonna be so honest, and I love Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. There's so much more to work with. Because of the point we're at in the timeline, there are so many people that we already know that are in this book. And we're seeing them being introduced like we don't know them, but we do know them. And Suzanne Collins, her mind is just like absolutely wild to see all these pieces coming together. I will say I'm a bit worried because it feels like literally everyone in the world that I know is in this book, and I'm intrigued to see how it's all gonna turn out, and especially how this is going to lead to our ending and then where we start the Hunger Games trilogy. And it's crazy because I literally just reread the Hunger Games trilogy. I'll put a card up here if you want to see that video, and I'm wanting to read it again already. There's just so much that I'm intrigued if I can pick up on when I reread it. I will say I regret not rereading A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes before this because there is a lot that is involved with that book that is connected with that book that we're seeing now. And obviously I still remember it, but that I think that would have been helpful. So if you haven't read the book yet, that is a tip I would give. If you're waiting on your pre-order, if you're waiting on someone to give you the book, or you're holed at the library or something, I would reread The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes for sure. This book does have something similar going on to Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, where you're seeing the evolution of the games. Now, I'm not going to obviously tell you what that is, like what evolution we're seeing, because this is a non-spoiler section, but you can expect to see that and expect to see how the world has evolved and changed since the 10th Hunger Games and how it is before the 75th. Okay, I think that's all I can say for the non-spoiler section. Let's get to the spoiler section. Now, there's absolutely no way that I can talk about everything that I want to talk about right now. I'm gonna have to save some of my thoughts for the end. You guys are my people right now. You people have read this. This is insane. The end of the first part with President Snow, he's like puking and coughing up blood, like, is actually insane. And then at the end with Luella coming back, I'm straight up shook, like so confused on what's going on. So I think that's what's on the top of my head. But guys, this book is so good. Like, I cannot believe the amount of rebellion I am seeing going on, like sprinkled throughout, especially Haymitch. Again, it's a recency bias because I've just read it, but the part when President Snow needs milk and Haymitch just like chugs it and says that there's no milk left, I said, you're a baddie. Like, you are crazy. And he just so naturally acts in this way. And there have been so many times when he or other characters have talked about, oh, we should kill all the peacekeepers right now. Or just all these times when Haymitch is like standing up and rising up, and it makes sense where we see him in Mockingjay when he is part of the revolution. but I'm so scared of what is going to happen because something is going to beat this out of him and make him turn to liquor, which is just really scary. And we're already seeing him being introduced to liquor, and I'm like, like I see it coming, and that is a little bit scary. I think probably to me the most intriguing characters are obviously Haymitch. Also, Plutarch being in this book is wild. Plutarch is there. He already seems to be like part of the revolution, but also not. He encouraged Haymitch, being like, why don't you stand up against the Capitol? You should probably be standing up against the Capitol. And I was like, so Plutarch is already working with the games, and he already seems like he has this touch of rebellion. I'm wondering why. Like, why? And we just were inside of his house. He's so rich. He's part of the Capitol. Like, why is he part of this revolution? Oh my gosh. Beatty being in this book and his son being in the Hunger Games. This seems like the freaking Wild West of the Hunger Games. It's just absolutely insane. Like, President Snow is so unhinged. He is using so much fear to keep everyone in line. And it's just reminding me of that iconic part. I can't remember if it's just in the movie or if it's in the book too. But I know it's in the movie when they're talking about the proper balance between fear and hope. And you have to have a lot of fear, but you need that little bit of hope so that people don't rebel. And I feel like that we're like at the tipping point right now. Like, there's so much fear, especially because President Snow is just meddling in everything. I guess I didn't really explain this, but Beatty, he is a mentor to his son who's in the games. His son was sent to the games because Beatty was trying to rebel. And Beatty is friends with Wyrus, who is Haymitch's mentor, and also Mags is Haymitch's mentor. Guys, I just feel like I'm catching strays. Like, every single time anything is revealed in this book, like, I am just like, what is going on? And it's crazy because President Snow has just like revealed to Haymitch that he is going to kill him in the games. And he's like, you get to choose how you die. Like, is it gonna be super brutal or is it not? And it's just like, it's so freaky. There's two other interesting characters that I wanted to touch on. The first is Maisie Donner. She is so interesting and I love her. She's just like a girly pop. She like loves jewelry. She loves fashion. She comes off really abrasive, but Haymitch is discovering that there's more to her than that he originally thought, because he originally like hated her, but now he's seeing her like helping the other tributes. He is starting to gain this respect for her, which I think is really interesting. I also love the character of Beatty's son. I'm forgetting what his name is right now, but he is like this 12-year-old boy. He's so smart, and what they're planning on doing is making an alliance of everyone who's not in the career pack to try and take down the career pack. And that is just like crazy, and I'm intrigued to see if that is gonna pan out. I feel like when I read the original trilogy and it was talking about Haymitch's games, it did not talk about there being that alliance. Maybe it did. Okay, and also, last thing about Snow is he's being absolutely diabolical. He's taking his relationship with Lucy Gray and using what he knows about the Coveys to absolutely torment Haymitch. And he's just so diabolical, and he seems like he's about to die. Like, he seems so sick. And so I'm like, what is going on? I want to keep giving you updates, but honestly, I just like need to keep reading. So it's so freaking cozy in here because it is just coming down. It is blizzarding. So I'm gonna get back to my book. Let's see how many hours it says we have left. It says I have 4 hours left in the book. It's 4:30 right now. So let's get some good reading done. I want to finish it tonight so bad. And then I'm going to want to read it again.
Hello?
Hey, bro.
What's up?
Have you been reading the book?
No, I haven't started.
Snitch!
Dude, I have a job.
Dude, I don't care! Quit!
Can I call you back?
No, I don't even want to
Yes.
talk to you anymore.
Okay, I'll never call you back.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
There's no one in this world. Is this how you guys are feeling? There's no one in this world who's reading this book right now. And I need to be talking about it with someone. So we need to be rising up.
So you are alive. You made it through the night.
I'm alive, and I'm here to ask you if anyone in your household has been reading this book.
Hannah just got the book.
Oh, I'm freaking pissed! No one is as insane as I am, and there's no one to talk about this book with!
Hannah will be able to talk with you about the book in like 2 days. 2 days.
Ugh.
But she'll be able to talk about the first part of the book.
I'm in such pain. Well,
I'm so sorry.
Whatever. Didn't want to talk about it anyway.
No spoilers, but are you like happy, sad, frustrated?
So I just finished the first part, and what I'll say is that this book is effing crazy. This book, like from the jump, feels just so big. Like, this crap is in different areas. But Maddie hasn't even started.
Maddie hasn't started?
No, because she freaking has a job, and I said, take the day off, snitch!
I said, Maddie, take a day off, get a babysitter for your child.
I said, I don't care that it's finals for your husband. What I care about is that I can talk about this book with someone. The only thing I'm worried about is just I'm worried that I'm gonna leave unsatisfied with how many questions the book is opening up. Does that make sense?
Fortunately, nobody can match this freak.
I sure love you.
Well, I love you. I'm glad you survived. That's happy news, and I'm glad that it's intriguing thus far.
Very intriguing. Very much that.
Best of luck. I'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good. Love you, babe.
Okay, love you, bye.
Bye. I just started part 2. Literally just started. And if you know, you know. This book is so much darker than I thought it was gonna be. So much darker. I'm reading this and I'm like, this is crazy. Stop. Why am I gonna cry? Guys, I'm sensitive. Oh. Okay, spoiler alert. I'm gonna put timestamps, don't worry. But guys, it's Effie! Effie is here! And she's gonna help the District 12 people! And I'm gonna cry. Tell me this, why does reading about Effie make me feel like I'm coming home? This book is getting so, it's so dark and it's in the weeds and there's so much strategy and all this stuff going on. But now that Effie's here, I'm like, it's gonna be okay. I just love her so much. I'm getting explanations for things that I was wondering about from Catching Fire when it talks about Haymitch's games. I'm starting to understand why he did some of the things that he did. Guys, this book is so good! Okay, Haymitch is about to start his interview, so I thought I'd record my reaction. Yes, the iconic line from Caesar. So Haymitch, what do you think of the games having 100% more competitors than usual? Guys, why is Haymitch kinda... Why is he killing this? Why do I have a crush on Haymitch? He's so charming. He did such a good job. I'm so proud of him. What? This book is nuts! No way! No way. He is getting to talk to someone very special right now. This is nuts! What? What? This man is a homie. This is crazy. They've been setting things up. Literally. This is insane. This is insane. Someone just called The Hunger Games a family show, and that might be the funniest thing that's in this book so far. But that is one thing that I feel like I should bring up, is that this book is pretty funny. Like, I didn't feel like the other books were all that funny, but there's a lot of humor in here, and it's probably because Haymitch is this very, like, charming character. Okay, I just finished part 2. Wow, I feel like I gave you some updates as I was reading. I kind of stopped when the Hunger Games began because I was just so locked the freak in. Here's what's interesting about this book, is that now that the games have started, I feel like the pace of the book slowed down a little bit in this second part, at least specifically once we're in the games. And now heading into part 3, I'm really intrigued to see how Haymitch is going to respond to kind of the big twist that happened at the end of part 2. I called a couple of people to see what their opinions were, hear what their takes were, and kind of what I was saying is that I'm really, really enjoying this book. Like, you've seen my reactions. Like, it's so good. But the only thing I'm concerned about is that all of the things that I have questions about, or all of the things that have been teased, like, nothing's gonna happen. And I know that that's, like, at least some of the things that I'm wondering about, I know are not going to, like, I'm not gonna get an answer for every question. But I'm a little worried that I'm not gonna leave satisfied, but it's so good so far. So here's what I think my plan is. It is 7 p.m. I'm gonna make some snacks, update my Kindle, hop in the bath, and let's see where this part goes. Here's the last thing I'll say, is that this book, it's both parts more funny than the other books and also much darker. Like, as we've witnessed tributes dying, like, it's making me feel icky. Not in like a Suzanne Collins did something wrong kind of thing, but the way that they're dying and the way that's being portrayed, I think because we're in Haymitch's head, we're really seeing his attitudes towards the Hunger Games popping out, and we're seeing his distaste for everything that's going on. So I'm intrigued. The last section is called The Poster, and if you've read the book, you know that this is like a theme that has been woven throughout the book, kind of relating to like the legacy that Haymitch wants to leave on the games. And so I'm intrigued to see what happens. So let's go make some snacks. Let's hop into our bathing suit. Let's get in the tub and see what the rest of the book has in store. I can't believe we're gonna finish it. Welcome to my very non-aesthetically pleasing bathtub. Okay, this is real life. I'm a college student. This is what my bathtub looks like. But I got myself all set up on my Kindle. So I'm just gonna chill in the bathtub for a little bit, relax, and see how far I can get. I'll update you if and when anything crazy happens, because this is the third part, so we know something good is gonna go down.
Maddie told me that you went to a midnight book pickup and that she thought you were already done with it.
And I probably read until like 1, and I was like, I have to go to bed. So I just am not built for all-nighters like I was used to. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm about 3/4 of the way through the book.
And
You don't even understand the hijinks you're in for before the games. Like, it is truly, there's so much that goes on. And now that I'm in the games, I'm like, okay, I know what's gonna happen. You know, like, he's gonna win. You know, like, I know what's gonna happen. And I'm just waiting kind of for the games to end so I can pick up those plot lines from before the games.
yeah.
Okay, I am out of the bath. Talked to my sister for like 2 hours about the book, about the Hunger Games in general, and about many other things. But I'm so back. It is, what time is it? It's 10:20. I think I have about an hour and a half. My sister asked me what rating I would give it so far, and I think I'm at a 4 stars right now. There's so many things that I'm loving. I will say I feel like the games portion feels like it's moving kind of slow. I might be alone in that, but I'm feeling like I'm not as gripped by it as what was going on, like with all the different plot points that were going on before the games. I'm just not as gripped. I feel like depending on how the ending goes, that could really affect my rating of the book. But I'm having a lot of fun. I'm excited for the Hunger Games to be over. I'm feeling like they will be soon. And I'm just pumped to see how a lot of those threads get tied up. So I'm going to set you up. Let's get on my Kindle. Let's finish this book. Okay, we're nearing the end of the games and things are getting kind of crazy. I'm starting to understand kind of the point of the whole book and it's all coming together. I feel like every single Hunger Games book, Suzanne Collins is trying to have like a certain message, or not even message, but like commentary that she's trying to make. And I feel like obviously it's been coming together the whole book, but I feel like in this event that just happened near the end, I just feel like I'm starting to put the pieces together and it's really interesting. So there's my little update. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the reading vlog. I just finished reading the book yesterday and I wanted to take some time to collect my thoughts. I always feel like I need a little bit of time to really know how I feel about a book. And honestly, I'd usually want more time, but the issue is I do not want my opinion to be swayed by whatever is being said online. I honestly don't know what the general consensus is right now, if people are loving it, if people are hating it. These are just my honest and genuine thoughts and reactions. And so it actually makes me a little bit nervous to share because I don't want to sound dumb, but you can trust that these are my actual thoughts and opinions without being tainted by what other people are saying. I want to start off by saying that I loved this book. I also thought that it was necessary. I always get a little nervous when an author of a popular series comes out and says they have new work to release within that series. I always get nervous that it's going to be just like kind of a cash grab or they want to prolong their fame or something like that. But that is not at all how I felt about this book. Now I'm sure you've gathered this from the vlog so far. There are things that I really loved about this book and there are things that I didn't love about this book. But when I put it all together, I really do feel like Suzanne Collins was being very genuine and that she had something that she wanted to communicate, and that I really do think it came through clear to us what message she was trying to send. And I guess maybe we can just start there. The general themes that I saw throughout the book. The first theme that I really felt was touched on a lot was this idea of propaganda. I think it's so funny as I'm rewatching and editing the vlog that you just saw that there are many times when I pause and I'm like, wait a minute, is this how the story was presented in the original trilogy? And as I went back and have reread those passages and watched my own video that explains all of that stuff, what I've realized is that that is part of the message of the book. That not everything is exactly the same as it is in the original trilogy, but it's because Haymitch's experiences were not documented 100% accurately. Or maybe that they were documented accurately, but they were not edited and presented in a truthful way. I think this is a really timely message for us today in the way that we consume media and news. I was reading, I think it was an interview with Suzanne Collins, and she was saying, the question real or not real from Mockingjay becomes more pressing every day. And it's a little bit scary to think about how so many of the things that we may think are real, we only think that because they're presented to us in a certain way. Another big theme that I liked even better than the theme about propaganda was the idea that revolution never just comes from one person. When we read the original trilogy, we do understand this because we see that Katniss is adopted into a rebel plot that is already in motion and she is just seen as the figurehead. But I think that this book makes it even more clear that in order for the revolution to happen 25 years later, you need all of these really brave people making these big sacrifices 25 years before. And while we see people like Katniss making big sacrifices for the revolution, it almost to me felt more poignant to see characters like Beatty who are sacrificing so much while their plans just went to crap all the time. I obviously felt the disappointment when the plan to drown the arena didn't really work. And thinking about all the sacrifice that went to make that plan happen made it even harder. And so I love this idea that the revolution and any political change needs to come from a group of people, and it often happens slowly over time. And a lot of times we give too much credit to these figureheads when there have been normal, everyday people who have been doing it behind the scenes the whole time. The last kind of general theme that I wanted to touch on with this book is the idea, and I'm not sure if this is just in the Hunger Games movie or I can't remember if it's in the book as well, but it's the idea that President Snow shares where he talks about in order to govern, you have to have the correct balance of fear and hope. And I thought it was really interesting that the world doesn't seem to have changed that much from the 50th Hunger Games to the 74th. It felt like there was a lot of change from the 10th Hunger Games to the 74th and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but the world building didn't feel all that different, at least to me. What I did notice, however, is that this balance between fear and hope that President Snow was trying to make felt much more skewed towards fear at this point in his presidency. President Snow is such a dark character in this book. He is dark throughout all of the books, but throughout the original trilogy, I felt like he dealt a lot in threats and implicit fear, but here we see him, I feel, at some of his most evil. Like, guys, the body doubling of Luella made me so sick to my stomach. Like, just so dark and twisted. It was interesting because I felt like the way that President Snow dealt with Katniss was constant threat, but there was always this hope of, but if you can convince me, things will be okay. And that is how he controlled her. And I honestly think he might have learned that from this experience with Haymitch. He tells Haymitch going into the games, you are going to die. You just get to choose how you die. And that made Haymitch just go absolutely for broke. He didn't have any hope that he was going to get out of there alive. He actually feels a lot more rebellious than Katniss even felt in her first games. So I just personally thought that that description was really interesting. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this book was that there seemed to be a lot more humor. Now, it was dark, it was sardonic, it was dry, but I really could feel Haymitch's personality popping off the page, which I thought was really fun. I'm also wondering if this is going to be a controversial take. Like I said, I'm not really sure right now, but I actually loved having the entire cast of characters that we have. All of the repeats, all of the people that we already know from the original trilogy. I think that I like this so much because, like I was saying before, it really just shows how long people have been trying to get this revolution started and how much personal skin all of these people had in the game. I'm a little bit sad that I'll never get that behind the scenes of what they were doing in preparation for the the eventual rebellion. But again, I just think it's really important to show that theme, that Katniss was so important to the revolution, but so were all these people who had been fighting and working for it for so long. And I just loved characters like Effie. Like you saw, I literally cried when Effie came back. Like seeing her and really starting to even understand her character more. That in a world of so much darkness and so much cruelty, especially at this time in the Capitol, to have Effie as this very misdirected person that kind of ties into that theme of propaganda that she has just been told so many times that the Hunger Games should be happening and that they're honoring to the Capitol, that even good people can get twisted ideas about what is true and what is not. And it's interesting because I don't even think that Plutarch is really that good of a person. I feel like his motives are kind of fuzzy. He's at least definitely morally gray. And so it's interesting to have these two characters at odds, where we have this genuinely good person who feels like they're just on the wrong side because of what they've been told. And then we have this character who is morally gray, and who works on the side of the Capitol for so long, but still is a rebel. I've got to say, it was a little confusing to me. I was like, why is he a rebel? How did he become a rebel? But I really enjoyed that juxtaposition between those two characters. So now I'm gonna get into some of the things that I didn't love as much about this book. The first thing that I think is really evident in my vlog is that for me, the portion that was actually in the games, for some reason, did not feel as gripping to me. And I know that this will vary from person to person. I don't think this is something that is objective by any means. You saw one of my friends at the beginning of our video when we talked about our hopes for the book, said that she wanted more than half of the book to be in the games. And so I think this is just personal preference. And I'm thinking maybe part of the problem is that I reread Catching Fire right before I read this book. And in there, it gives a summary of Haymitch's games. I think going in knowing the timeline of events made it just a little bit less interesting to me personally. This is related to my last comment. This book follows a very, very similar formula to the first Hunger Games book. For example, it starts the morning of the reaping with our main character and a younger sibling talking about how they're hoping not to get reaped. Then we go to the meadow for a minute with our main character and their love interest, and we hear about their rebellious thoughts that they have. And then we go to the reaping, and our characters are not the ones that are reaped, but due to something happening in the plot, they both end up being reaped. And it just felt a little bit formulaic to me. And I understand that maybe on an objective level that this was a good and smart thing for Suzanne Collins to do. We really are able to see how Katniss and Haymitch are so similar. However, for me, just from like a purely enjoyment, objective perspective, I found that to be a little bit boring and a little bit predictable. My favorite parts of the book were the parts that broke from that mold, and I was able to see more of Haymitch's personality and more of the unique nuances of his story. There is so much more I could say about this book, and maybe one day I will, but I think that gives you a pretty good summary of the things that I really liked and the things I didn't like as much about this book. I'm still settling on my final rating. For me, the original trilogy is a 5-star series. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is about a 4.5. For me, I think my final rating will depend on about how much I think about these characters and how much it impacts me going forward. Right now, I'm thinking my rating rests at about a 4.5 or a 4.75. There are so many aspects of this book that I liked better than the original trilogy, or I liked better than The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but because of those things that influence my enjoyment of the book a little bit, it does take my rating down. So that's where I think I am now. I reserve the right to change my rating if I need to. Okay, that is the end of today's video. Thanks so much for joining me today and spending part of your day with me. If you made it to the end of this video, you are a homie, and you should definitely click the like button, comment, subscribe. I would love to see you around here more. Thanks again for watching. Bye!